can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good. Woo!
Story time. I want to tell y'all about a time an artist I worked with inspired the Migos and Ric Flair to link up. I worked with an artist called Mark Carson who came up with the amazing idea called the Flair Walk Challenge. So let's talk about it, right? Around 2015, 2016, I had left where I had been living for a few years in South Carolina to go to Columbia, South Carolina, because I was kind of over it. I knew I needed more in life, and I knew that I wasn't following my path. I had worked at Nike. I just quit because I didn't want to become a manager my whole life. I saw a lot of managers there that was super depressed, and I just didn't want my life to end up that way. So my wife was going to school in Columbia, South Carolina at USC, and I decided to move in with her so I could figure out something else. Columbia was more of a city. It had more of my speed. It was people doing all different types of things, and I felt as though I would be better off there. So then I got a catering job, right? I was a banquet captain, and that's where I made a lot of my connections through the city of Columbia. I met a lot of people who were from there, and locally they knew a bunch of different people. So long story short, in 2016 I ended up quitting that job because it just was too much. It was a very small company who was biting off more than it can chew. They made a lot of money. They made a lot of money because they were pretty good at their job. The food was good. They had the service, and they had the connections. So I quit that. I had met a guy there called Hip Hop Geek who had some connections to like the city and to like different rappers and stuff like that. And he wanted to be a rapper. And I didn't really take him seriously at first because he looked like Ross from fucking Friends. You know what I'm saying? He just didn't have that appearance, but he really loved the culture, and he had bars. So I didn't take him serious. And after I quit, I started going back and forth to Atlanta to help my friend RJ Films out with certain different projects. He was meeting a lot of different people. He was making small films. He was doing a lot of stuff that, even though it wasn't something I was totally passionate about, but it was within the field of hip hop. It was Atlanta, right? I didn't like Atlanta, so I really didn't stay long because Atlanta was just weird. You get what I'm saying? It's just a finesse-y, weird, nasty, icky type city if you're not on the right side of it. And I felt as though my man's wasn't really, I don't know if he was on the right side of it. I felt as though I felt as though he was gaming people. You get what I'm saying? I felt as though he was gaming people, but that's neither here nor there. I didn't like Atlanta, but it got me back to picking up my camera because at first I just did cinematography and videography myself. I was, tried to do YouTube at 2010. I kind of saw where YouTube was going to be, and I started my YouTube page in 2010. So I was always familiar with making content, and over time, I started to really want to be a creative director because I've started to learn about carrying civil, and I started to, I knew what I wanted to see from artists, and I knew how I felt as though, an artist should get my attention in order for me to get to purchase. So I felt as though I would know how to help other artists do the same thing. If I knew what I wanted to see from an artist, I can help other people get that buy-in, right? So long story even longer, Mark Carson, come back. I hit up Hip Hop Geek. He starts having these rap shows, and I start filming for them. You get what I'm saying? For free, just to meet people, just to see what it could lead me to, right? So anybody out there that's ever wondering, sometimes you got to work for free, even if you're good at it, so you can get in the right rooms because you never know what that could lead to. So I'm doing stuff for free or whatever. Whoop. So Mark calls me one day. He gets my information. He calls me. He's like, yo, I wanted you to do this Flair Walk Challenge thing with me. And I'm like, okay. What is it? And so he kind of tells me what it is and how to do it and different things like that. And I still have that video up on my Instagram to this day just because it's a part of my history. Now, Mark has gone on to delete most of this stuff, but you can still find the Flair Walk Challenge through Instagram. You can click Flair Walk Challenge on the hashtag, and you'll see a bunch of people did it. You'll see a trophy and different things like that. And we're going to get to that because it was really dope. And it was something that I really feel as though we should talk about. I go and I meet him, and they want me to do the dance. I thought they wanted me to film. So we do the dance, we film, and then he's like, yo, I need a cameraman. So we start, I start being a part of the team. So I find out that the Flair Walk song, I think the night I met him, he had did the song, and he had the Ric Flair suit on, and he was coming out, and he was buying totally into it, right? And to be a local artist, when you see that, when you work with a lot of local artists who don't really try, when you see them get in costume, and that's really impressive. So I was pretty impressed. While we filming, I meet this guy named Floss. Now, Floss is the mastermind to this song specifically. Floss is the guy that kind of wrote this song, and Mark kind of added the verses in. They kind of worked together on it. Floss is a guy in Columbia who had the connections, who had battled Blind Fury. If you don't know who Blind Fury is, punch yourself in the face. He used to run 106 in Park in maybe the latter years, the maybe in the later years, not the poster boy era, but like the era after that. You get what I'm saying? Blind Fury was just, beating people up. He's from Columbia, South Carolina. Floss had battled him, and he knew everybody. You get what I'm saying? He had been trying to be an artist around the city for a long time. He's one of those guys that know people. You get what I'm saying? He'll battle anybody. Real cool dude, short dude with a lot of personality. So he was a big Ric Flair fan. I was a big Ric Flair fan, and Mark was a big Ric Flair fan. I like wrestling, so it all worked, right? And like I said, it's story time, so y'all just kick back and chill because it gets better, right? So we start doing this whole thing. Now, once I meet Mark, after that, I become a part of the team. So I go meet Mark at his family's house, smoking and drinking. His dad, the name of their company is Daddy Money's LLC. He's living with his parents. He's trying to figure it out. A little arrogant fucker, but a smart, arrogant little mug, right? He came up with this whole entire strategy, right? And it worked. Now, you got to think about this. This was in between the Vine era and the TikTok era. The streamers and the content creators were still in charge. I mean, the streamers wasn't really there yet, and the content creators were still like the guy Dan Rue. He did the Flair Walk song, right? He didn't do the challenge, but he did the song, right? He danced to the song, and if you know who Dan Rue is, he was like, "Come on, Dan, what you doing, Dan? Come on now with the Dan, you get him with the wah 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 wah." You've definitely seen the black dude with the light skinned dude before with the Dan, right? That was that era where those dudes were like taking over the internet. Like it was still before TikTok. It was like the very early beginnings of that, right? It was still like mumble rap, SoundCloud rappers were like that thing. I go meet them at their house or whatever, and they start telling me the plan. Now this plan is crazy. Mark decides to start paying people online to do it. He pays Dan Rue. He pays all different type of people $20, $30. All these little kids that had little followings here and there, he would pay them $20, $30 to do the Flair Walk Challenge on their Facebooks, on their Instagrams, on their YouTubes, on their Snapchats, right? He is super duper smart. But where it gets even better is he actually tracked down Ric Flair, right? And we're going to get there. So how does Ric Flair and the Migos link, right? This is how I'm gonna put it all together, right? So Mark opens up for the Migos. This is where I know for a fact the Migos and Ric Flair linked based upon this connection here, right? So Mark opened up for the Migos. Now, when he opens up for the Migos, this is Township Auditorium, sold out show, 3,300 people. So this venue is sold out. The reason why this venue is sold out is because Bad and Bougie, this is the month Bad and Bougie is #1 and is the hottest record on the planet. #1, going crazy. Township Order, he sells out. So Mark pays a couple of dollars through Floss because he know the people to open up for him. He opens up for them, and even though everybody wasn't seated yet, it was a lot of people in there saying, "Woo, woo!" Now I recorded this. I was there. I was the cameraman. I recorded all this, right? And the crazy thing is, right after he performs, Mark was very smart. He wanted to open up for Ace Hood in Chicago. The second time I was ever flown out for art for anything, for anything. Really, nobody else was flying me out.
Okay, this is the story of the 4 horsemen traveling in Chicago. Of the 4, 3 returned. Of the 3, 2 wrote a book. Only 1 was published. This is that story. But we loaded with zone 1. Hey, we lit. Man, I feel just like the weatherman. Man, I feel just like a letterman. Nice job. An employee I would recommend. No, I'm strictly been an Afghan.
Mark, his dad, Hip Hop Geek, and myself all got flown to Chicago. We went to a casino. My first time in a casino. Hip Hop Geek, he won like $120. He's like, "This is the machine." He picks the machine, sits down, wins like $120 something dollars. It was dope. We go to the casino. We spend in Chicago. Ace Hood doesn't come till like 3:00 in the morning. I kind of try to tell him that we get out there early. So he was always looking for these ways to kind of like, I wouldn't say clout chase, but get his name next to these people because I feel as though he had a really good ear for music and he knew how to write really well, like really well. He could write like that, and it was fire, right? But we'll get to some of the issues later. So when the Migos was coming, they kicked everybody off the stage. They kicked everybody from backstage, right? And that was kind of like the thing for Mark to give his music to the Migos. That was like the whole thing, right? But they kicked everybody off stage. They was like, "Yo, y'all got to get from back here. Y'all got to go to this specific section." Now, at the time, I forgot how we got like disconnected, and it was I think I had to go to the bathroom or something. And when I came back, they were kicking everybody off. But there was these two dudes that were mad gangster. They was like, bro, you got a camera. They kicking everybody off. Come in this room. So as they kicking everybody off, we in this room. I'm in this dude with a bunch of grills, gangster, Columbia, South Carolina, with some other dude. He got to pee. So we like, man, go to over there. And he grabbed the trash can and peed in the trash can in the corner. And we just waiting. He like, little man, you about to get the best footage. You about to get the best footage, bro. You don't even know. As soon as they start rapping, we gonna go out. So we wait. They start rapping and we just walk out. And everybody looking at us like, what the heck are y'all doing? I just walk on stage. I'm on stage, #1 Bad and Bougie. I'm just like, what the heck? I take pictures of Quavo, all of them. I take pictures of all of them, man. Oh my goodness. Offset, all of them. Dope. I've never seen something like this. And everybody, they whole camp was looking at me like, who the fuck is that? Why he on stage? But I just play my part. I put my camera up and I go to the other side where Beezy Baby was, which is the radio personality for like Columbia, South Carolina area for the 803. So they like, yo, D, where the heck was you? How the heck you get on stage? How the heck you get on? When we finally meet up, they're like, how you get on stage? How you get up? I'm like, man, I don't know. They're like, but you got the footage, yo, you the best, whatever, cool. So then Mark finds a way to track down Ric Flair. Ric Flair was in Hemingway. I think it was Hemingway, South Carolina, like a few minutes outside of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He was doing like a meet and greet for like this small duck town, like fair. Like it was like this small weird town fair. And it was me, Floss, and Mark, and he bought us tickets to meet and greet him. So that's where this picture comes from here. I met Ric Flair, right? They wouldn't let us film, but this is the only footage right here of Mark meeting Ric Flair. Mark came up with the amazing idea to get Ric Flair to sign this trophy. He was going to sign this trophy, which you see here. He signed this trophy and he was going to give it away to whoever had the best Flair walk. From what I heard and what Mark told me is that they got a double trophy and they gave the fake one away. I don't know if that's true, if that's not. He ended up telling me that. I think he ended up telling me that he gave the real one away just because, like, whatever.
Mark Carson with a mile-long Mercedes, backseat filled with ladies. Left hand alone has got me off balance. Right hand holding trophy for the Flair Walk Challenge. If you want to win this trophy, make sure you use hashtag Flair Walk Challenge so I can find the fastest jet flying, Mercedes driving son of a gun. And I'm having a hard time holding this trophy down. Woo!
But he came up with this concept. He came up with this idea and it worked. Ric Flair was super dope. He had super personality. You know, all the girls that were cute. He was like, hey, baby, you want to ride with a winner? Like, he's just a really good dude. So he was super dope, man. We chilled. We enjoyed it. And a year later, Ric Flair drip came out. Mark gave him his card specifically. He signed the trophy. He was like, let me see your Flair walk. Mark does the Flair walk. We all go, woo. It was an amazing experience. But then a year later, almost to the exact date, Ric Flair drip go, woo, comes out. And that's not a coincidence, right? Somebody was there in that crowd and saw this, whether it was the Migos reaching out to Ric Flair or it was Ric Flair linking out to the Migos, because Ric Flair ain't gonna do nothing rap, right? He even got with Yeezy one time, right? Like Ric Flair, when he does stuff, he does things on a higher level. So to me, it never made sense for him to ever link with Mark because Mark didn't really have a name for himself. And a lot of times that's what happens in the industry. You'll lay down something and somebody will take it. You know, if you ever try to give an idea to Nike, they tell you, most of these companies tell you, before you send us an idea, if we like it enough and we want to cut you out, we have all rights to do so, right? So you got to understand that somebody's always paying attention, somebody's always watching. That's one of the most amazing stories I've seen, because I still to this day want to creatively direct and help artists. I know how to do rollouts. I know how to do things different. I've created plenty of, let's say, activations, whether it's from the nature show or even on my channel, where I'm going to bring back 3 videos I want to see from certain different things, right? I got a different era and I got a time where it's like, yo, music videos that I want to see that never made, that never, songs that I want to see have music videos that never had music videos, right? You have to come up with these different concepts to get people to really buy into you. So I've always been, you know, looking for that. I like that, right? And that was one of the first times I seen something like that work. Like, we really got active and we got out there and we touched the ground. And you know, we performed a lot of places. We performed in Chicago. We performed all over South Carolina. Step into the ring and I hit him with the Flair walk. Man, it was fun. I brought him down to Hilton Head area to meet a couple of people from Hilton Head. Man, it was a fun time in my life, but you know, it's a story. It's something that I went through. It's something that, you know, a lot of people don't talk about, but yeah, we definitely inspired Ric Flair and Migos collaboration. We definitely did. And, you know, the kid, you know, he had a lot of growing to do, as did I, right? We had a lot of growing to do. So, you know, it didn't really end the best way. to me and Floss, I feel as though we treated him too much like a white avatar, and we didn't really respect him, even though he was very smart and very brave. Honestly, he went on stage and he didn't care. He would battle rap anybody. He was one of those people who, who was ready to like go out there and beat up people, right? Like he had the totally, I wouldn't say the wrong mentality, but I think he just needed to mature to see where, the issues were. But even still, man, the dude was super smart. He came up with this plan. We came up with this plan together and we implemented it. And it worked. It worked. It led to a big collaboration for the Migos. But we still have that story. And if you don't believe me, look it up. Go find him. I don't know what his name is now, Mark Carson, but that was his alias. But right, my wife was there throughout it all. Meeting Ric Flair and all these different things, man. It was cool. It was a cool point in my life. And maybe I didn't make $1 million off of it, but I definitely got stories that I can tell for the rest of my life. I was broke at the time. I was just trying to be a cameraman and trying to figure it out. I wasn't the best cameraman. I was more a better creative director and then I was a cameraman. I knew what shots more. I was better director than I was a cameraman. And we had times where I came up with these dope, crazy ideas and it worked. Like, and it really worked. And you learn and you grow and you move on. So dope time in my life, but we definitely inspired that Ric Flair and Migos link up. So it's just a little story time, man. This is what I've been doing before y'all knew me. I've always been trying to be involved in music and entertainment and media my whole life. Sometimes I ain't right, but I always wanted to do something creative. I always wanted to do something different, so I just had to kind of like, I don't know, man. I always wanted to tell this story for a long time on this channel just so people could see what I was doing before. I always tried to fight to get, at this level, right? I was always trying to fight to get this awareness. And, it finally is working out for me. And I just want to give y'all a story from my past, man. Ric Flair. Step up in the ring and I hit him with the Flair walk. I speak a language that is known as players talk. Woo, woo, woo. Now hit the Flair walk. Throw the money in the air, hit the... Man, I heard that song so many damn times in my life. It's crazy, but it was dope. Flair walk, rah, rah. To meet Ric Flair and all the things that we did, man, nothing short of amazing. But you leave your thoughts in the comment section, man. Have you ever inspired something, or have you ever felt as though somebody took something from you or and didn't credit you, or you maybe feel like... You leave your thoughts in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I release a video. Donate to this Cash App. Anything is appreciated. Thank you for watching. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. Join to be a member. Link is in the description, dog. What you doing, cuz? Join to be a member, man. We do some great stuff over here. I got a vlog series over there where I show you my life through the lens of hip hop, and we get a little bit deeper than this surface level stuff that I have to put out to feed the algorithms. But hey, do you remember the Flair walk? Did you do the Flair walk? Was you there in Columbia, South Carolina when Mark Carson went and opened up for the Migos? Did you try the Flair walk challenge? Do you remember seeing Dan Rue do it? Let me know in the comment section. I'm out of here. Peace.